Hi, I'm Dennis Ruffner. I'm the Infrastructure Committee Chair here at the Vaquero Homeowners Association. I've spent time on our board of directors, a year as our president, and when I left the board, I asked to take over the Infrastructure Committee because it's probably one of the most important investments that we have. And with those investments, the biggest one we have probably is our streets, and so that really became a priority for us as we began the Infrastructure Committee. Vaquero's a private gated community with a world-class golf course in it. We have 6.5 miles of asphalt roadways in this development that we have to make sure that we maintain. So there's all kinds of pretty major projects you have with being a gated community that you're responsible for that the city is not responsible for. So the real challenge is to work with the board, make sure we have enough money going into reserves so that we still are able to provide a dues base that is attractive to people who want to live here and really provide a good value for those who do live here. The dues here are really very reasonable for this type of a homeowners association. So we have 20-year-old problems with with our asphalt, and whether it's cracks, areas that needed to be re-asphalted or replaced, or a lot of crack sealing to be done. It was time that we needed to do something, really to do two things. To improve the aesthetics, the look of the street, because they had really become gray. Had a pretty big investment in our curbs and our gutters here that are a very nice aggregate that kind of blended into the street. And 20 years of oil spots and 20 years of little spills here and there have really made the streets rather unsightly. So one was the aesthetic piece, and there's lots of things you can do to improve the aesthetics, but the main part of my responsibility was to make sure that we did something that not only made them look better, but also significantly extended the useful life of the streets. And so that was really one of the criteria that we had as we went and investigated really 4 or 5 different products that we could put on the streets. Probably the biggest help we got was from the city of Dallas, who has this area, what appears to be this neighborhood where they have tried out all kinds of different ways to resurface asphalt. And if you ask them real nice, they'll tell you where they are. And so our former property manager here, Steve Barnett, and I took a field trip down to Dallas, and we were able to go take a look and see what a seal coat looked like, what a sand slurry looked like, and then what HA5 looked like. And we could see really what these surfaces looked like after they had been down a year and a half or so. And it was very educational to be able to go take a look at them. And after we got back from that trip, from my standpoint, there was no doubt that we were going to go with the HA5. The real selling point with the HA5 piece was if we can put together a product where we have a program where we can treat it, this treatment that we just went through, maybe another treatment in another 5 to 7 years, and then 5 to 7 years after that start talking about repaving. If that puts that off for 7 years, that's my huge investment. That's my huge return on investment. Well, the real benefit was be able to take this logistical nightmare of 300 and some odd homes and 6 miles of roads, 2 entrances, 17 cul-de-sacs, and figure out how we do this project with minimal disruption to our residents and our members. So the huge return on the investment for us was, can I take that really huge disruptive project, delay it for 7 years because it's very, very costly, and continue to have streets that look as good as they look today? That's a win for me. The one thing that really stands out about this project that we've gone through is all of the education that was done, that Kent and Caleb went through to make sure that we understood what the process was and what the product does. But the logistical planning that went into this, that's huge. And it takes a certain amount of expertise, it takes a certain amount of gaining an understanding of our residents and how we react in order to put that plan together. My committee and myself, and I know our board and most of the residents that I talk to are thrilled with the result of what we had with our HA5 installation. The roads look fabulous. Those aggregate gutters and curbs that we have that used to blend into the landscape now pop and really do show off the community. We went through the project with minimal disruption to people's lives, and even several weeks after the project is over, we look around and all those statements that were made, like, you know, it's going to look even better later, and things like, yes, that's a little mark now, but it does heal itself. That stuff's true. And I know you don't believe. I know I didn't believe it. I was skeptical, but the more I walk around here every day, is like, this just looks better every day as it cures. So our experience, we were delighted.